With renewed focus on reviving the country's textile industry, the SA Clothing and Textile Workers Union has taken matters into its own hands. It's behind the Wear SA campaign, which hopes to help boost the business through design, manufacturing and retail. It's an important campaign, given the dozens of South African factories which have been shut due to a preference for cheaper foreign products. Some Cape Town universities are also on board to make this incubation program work. One of the people involved is Charlene Duncan. She is Director at the Centre for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the University of Cape Town, University of the Western Cape. In fact, she joins us tonight. Charlene, a very good evening. Thank you for your time. So let's begin with this incubation program. An incubator store staffed by 18 students. How will it work?
So the Wear campaign, we've partnered, the University of the Western Cape has partnered with Wear SA and SAC2. This is our second year of the partnership, where we've worked with students to expose them to the importance of getting behind the Buy Local campaign. The incubator store is an outcome of this project which we've been working on for the past 2 years, and the idea is to expose university students from across all 7 faculties. We've got 20 students who will be working in the first student incubator, which will expose students to the entire pipeline of the retail sector and understanding the importance of developing the sector so that we can contribute to the much needed jobs that the National Development Plan speaks about.
I want to pick up on that point of teaching these students about the entire pipeline in the textile process. Is that where we fell short previously, and how we were unable to keep up with the likes of China, where much of the cheap imports, we're told, have come from over the decades?
I think about 10 years ago, there were about 200,000 people who were working in the sector, and particularly in the Western Cape and in the KwaZulu-Natal areas. We saw large sectors working, of people working in the sector. And as we know, over the last 10 years, that has diminished quite drastically. It's a very important sector in our country. Manufacturing is one of the areas in which the country has, it's a sector that we need to look at in greater detail. It's about how do we invest in the local economy, and how do we create an awareness, and how do we use the youth in terms of innovation and the importance of understanding why it's important to revive the sector. So I think allowing cheap imports into the country has been something that we've not allowed people to think about. We've not really understood how what we've done to the economy and what we've done to the sector. It's a powerful sector in terms of addressing the challenges that we face, both in terms of the unemployment, the high unemployment statistics in our country, and as well as youth unemployment, and the importance of developing the economy locally. So this campaign is about creating that awareness. It's about building an awareness around why it's important to buy local, why it's important to support local, why it's important to check your labels and to see where your clothing comes from. And it's a movement that universities, and that this movement was born at the University of the Western Cape at UWC, and we've since handed this campaign over to the University of Cape Town, and more recently in KwaZulu-Natal to DUT as well. And the idea is eventually to build a movement across South African universities where students can actively participate in this movement so that we can change the mindset of youth and of people towards this particular sector.
How difficult is it then to take wholesale ownership of the chain? It's one thing for a garment to be made in South Africa, but if items such as zips, buttons, and some of the other inputs are still coming from abroad, how quickly can we change that picture? Is it an immediate term goal?
Just can you repeat the last part of the question, please?
Would it be a particularly easy thing to do to make sure that we not only produce the final garment here at home, but that the inputs needed in the process are also produced on South African soil?
I don't think it's an easy task, but I think the attitude in terms of the entrepreneurial mindset and the attitude in terms of creating an awareness is a good start in terms of how we change that mindset. I think it's a topic that we've not spoken enough about. We've recently heard at the State of the Nation address how our president spoke about the clothing that he was wearing and the plea that he made to all South Africans to support local. So I think it's about how do we change the way we think about buying local? How do we develop an awareness, like I've previously said, around buying local? I think it's going to take a long time to change that, but I believe that the youth has an appetite in terms of social entrepreneurship and social innovation, and the youth has an appetite in terms of understanding the importance of building an economy, a sustainable economy, and addressing the high rates of youth unemployment in South Africa today. So I think what we're doing is a start in terms of starting to change that, and I'm very excited about the fact that WSA and SACTU has chosen South African universities to address the challenges that they are facing and to make people aware. The first campaign when we launched it, our students came up with I Wear SA, and it was a capital A and the letters wear. And that was quite interesting because it was about I wear South African clothing, but also I am aware of the challenges, and I'm aware of the impact if I don't wear local and buy local within a South African context.
Charlene Duncan with the Centre for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the University of the Western Cape, thank you so much for your time tonight.